Thank you very much.
It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
February 19th, 12:53 p.m. Sholmes' suite. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Is it as described in the stories, Mr. Sato? Susato-san. Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I never read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me. She's obsessed. Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, anybody home? Oh, do you have a visitor? Oh. Hello? Is it a big note case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello? Wait a minute. Aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bohemia? King Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigmund vor Umstein, of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment. Look over there. Tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. It is you. I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too. Oh, there. Oh. Ah, there you are. And tagging that with you as well. I was looking forward to try run my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilder's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I've never met a lawyer from the far east before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. Oh, yes, it was, challenging. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thanks. Is tea supposed to look that color? Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray! It's a winner. I tried blending different leaves designed to elevate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of good luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, dear. Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas. Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, you think? And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes's suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley. Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name. What? What's the matter? No, wait, this cannot be. Did you say that your name is Wilson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Yeah, that's right. What's your names? Oh, I am Rinnosuke Naruhodo, lawyer from Japan. Oh, sorry. I am Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mekatoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Rue now. Got it. Susie? And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start. Yes, and so do I. Alright, well, let's start. Well, first of all, let's look around. There's a lot of stuff here, surely. But how many of it can we examine? What on earth is that big black lump over there? Ah, that fascinating thing is called a typewriter. It's a machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. Wizardly quickly too. Oh, that sounds like it could be very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting. Cool. Typewriter. That's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too. Oh yeah, but don't touch any of those. They might explode. Explode? Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Hurley has always said, chemistry is an explosive science. Sorry? I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world. Or perhaps he just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, don't touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. I mean, that just goes without saying, doesn't it? What a beautiful English tea set, and so neatly arranged. It's a favourite pastime of mine, a cup of herbal tea in the afternoon. Tea made of herbs. How old are you? 10, and she's drinking tea. Okay, sure. Well, why not? That's right. I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today. She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. Okay. Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter. What does that mean? Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll come back to that blackboard later. Black Peter, huh? A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament. Oh, those are all mementos that earliest collected from his past cases. Really? Even the bust? Yeah, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust. The poor defenseless emperor? Mr. Sholmes destroys it? Yeah, and he buys a new one. You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor. How entrancingly bohemian of him. What? Okay. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. Ah, it's so relaxing. We cannot relax. Not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories. It is? Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example, are my chocolates for 11 days. And transfixed by that large jack knife is my shopping list for the market. Oh, it is not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Poor Susato-san. She looks crushed. Looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You are very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Ooh, that chest contains some of my most valuable things. That smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. I don't want to know. Don't tell me, because I don't want to know. Okay, sofas, stuff. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. I keep telling Early not to cram so much on those shelves. Good advice. He wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago. But it was so tightly wedged in he couldn't get out, so he went and bought a new copy instead. Brilliant. Truly a genius of his time. Why are there all those bullet holes in the wall up there? Was Mr. Sholmes trying to shoot a pestry fly or something? Mr. Sholmes would never do something so reckless. Now, those are the letters VR, standing for Victoria Regina. It's Latin for Queen Victoria. So you mean he shot the Queen into the wall? In a moment of boredom, Mr. Sholmes adorned the wall with a patriotic sign, that's all, as pistol practice. Right, that makes perfect sense now. It is exactly as it is described in the stories. Oh, this is delightful. I'm not sure that the real explanation is any less reckless than shooting at a fly, personally. It is patriotic, Mr. Naruhodo. Patriotic. Still doesn't make it any less insane. Ah, I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. This one is called a violin, right? Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing. Oh, really? Absolutely. It is often explained in the stories. It is inspirational, Miss Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find. What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London. Oh yes, well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So now it is merely an ornament in my room. That must have been an awkward conversation. Alright. Chemicals, table, stuff. What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine? That's a great analytoscope. That's a great analytoscope. It can analyze anything, really, anything at all. That is absolutely incredible. It's one of Early's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things has he analyzed with? Do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet. Oh, why not? Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him, I don't actually have anything I need to analyze. Oh dear. You, Renault, do you have anything you'd like to analyze? The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. Yeah, analyze the analyzer. See what happens. Alright, I think we're done. Here we go. Iris, could I show you this? Oh, how exciting. What is it? Tell me about it. Oh, actually, I was hoping you might be able to tell me something about it if anything comes to mind. Why would it? Well, no, I suppose it wouldn't. Tell me, I want to hear everything. This hasn't gone according to plan. What about this? Iris, could I show you this? Oh, how exciting. What is it? Tell me. Okay. Just making sure. Alright. Iris, let's start with this. About before. Yes. What's on your mind, Renault? Don't tell me. Do tell me. How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean? Yes. Oh, and that we have a different trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, not this again, no. First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Renault. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber. But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that? I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket. Oh, so I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against this particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs. The Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I? That I know is a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited a local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Oh. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. A red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that tells me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Madness McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case. I see. But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Early solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he'd caught a Japanese man who's bawling and trembling. A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume. Mr. Natsume. Now, Rona has that fancy Japanese sold. And I think your outfit is called kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both came from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Early caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Early about the case. There is a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Early is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you see. He's silly. And that's all there is to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct? They were spot on. That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction. You even managed the certain something of Mr. Sholmes's delivery. Oh, well, I was just copying Early's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please? So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended the Japanese man, you were saying? Yeah, that's right. Early had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage, while police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene. Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems. Apparently a woman was stabbed on Quite Street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Natsume beyond any doubt. Sasaki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all, but it seems there were witnesses after all. Ali used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room, very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear. Oh, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time. Of course it did. He is a great detective. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it? Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Early says that London is rife with crime. Oh, Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized that the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on a first suspicious person. That is terrible. I suppose it is the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system. I Suppose it is. But in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Sasuke-san. Sasuke-san. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey? Yeah, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you very much. Oh no, not at all. I am so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Like this? Ooh. Ah, thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Oh yeah, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Oh, Jenny? Yeah, she's a professional pickpocket. So we found out. It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that. Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption? Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions. This girl is dangerous. Anyway, I brought Jenny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician. Sorry, your technician? Old Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yeah, Sherlock Sholmes. We live here together. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter. Daughter? Not likely. What? I wouldn't call him Early if he was my father, would I? Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate. Your roommate? I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year. Well, what of your mother and father? Oh no, they're not around. Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. I think we know. Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course. Go ahead, Susie. I am a very grateful fan of the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes and... Oh! You have a copy of Rand's magazine? Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world. My stories? That's right. Early's always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who had ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness! Last night he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship travelling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before he came. So you are the author? Yeah, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band. Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. Yeah, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you? So do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine all written by me? Yeah, I'm a wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've read are written by a doctor of medicine, by Dr. John H. Wilson. Susato-san is getting more and more worked up. Ah, yeah, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the Doctor of Medicine part? That's all true too. I am a Doctor of Medicine. No, at 10 years old. At 10 years old. Well, that's quite incredible. But, Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Yeah. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow. Yeah, that's the strange part. I suppose it does, yes. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world had just fallen apart. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative. Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about the case as well. Ah, well, I expect Early is still investigating the scene of the case involving Mr. Natsumi, you mean? Yeah, Mr. Nuts. Money? Oh, May? Early said he was going to the men's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there? Yes, we know Inspector Gregson. Oh, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this for me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know. What is this? A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems. Okay, is this... Iris, this isn't a bribe, is it? It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem? Question mark. Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try. Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special bands of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it is back to the scene of the crime. So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all, we headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. Farewell. February 19th, 2:38 p.m., Briar Road. Looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So, let us find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Indeed. Alright. Let's get to it. This is a 5-shilling piece, isn't it? I believe it is called a crown. Yes, and you can train a Scotland Yard detective to do whatever you want with just a single one. Iris must be the most powerful 10-year-old in the world. How much is 5 shillings, by the way? What's it really worth? Well, It is probably enough to buy all the chips the inspector could possibly eat in a whole month. That's greasy. 221B Baker Street, London, NW1. Iris's little handwriting is adorable, isn't it? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Yes, the handwriting might be adorable, but the message is ominous. There's no room for sentiment there. I am sure it is simply the way you're interpreting it, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I do hope the inspector will tell us what we need to know when he reads it. You don't think it'll just make him munch piping hot chips until... What? You don't think it'll just make him munch piping hot chips until steam comes out of his ears, do you? Well, that wouldn't be an entirely terrible outcome. Alright. That's enough of that. There you go. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk a pair of foreign Garridebates, that's for sure. We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? From me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship? Yeah, at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Oh, don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? The hell? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee. That's what it is. An appearance fee. Oh, I see. You mean? That's right. For the adventures of Earl Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course. Using my name without me say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes. Still, I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know? Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ah, the little knife-wielding mustache Japanese fella. He lives in a right old oval. Just over there. Look! Don't tell me. The one with bricked-up windows? On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrideb. Right, well, if you see her again, you might sure you give her ladyship my regards, yeah? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson says his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector, we will. Goodbye for now. A long live her ladyship. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yeah, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. Alright. Wish we could look at that crime scene though, but maybe one day. Just not today. Well, what do we have here? May I help you? Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb? And what, sir? And who, may I say, is calling? My name is Renisuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Suseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey a message to Mr. Garrideb. Did you see that, Mrs. Sato? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've already arrived now, don't we? Doesn't it? Whatever, same thing. We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not so sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb was saying that. This way. Okay. This is the first thing that caught my attention. That's a full-size cannon. What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. Why does he look like the old McDonald's mascot? What's his name? Mac Delight? Mac Tonight? It's got that half moon shape. Oh god, I'm running out of old man British voices. Oh, that old thing. Bah, that's little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me. Which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Okay. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading? Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are very long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book. Oh, there's a copy of Rand's magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventure of Sherlock Holmes too. A great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Okay. I don't like... This voice is too similar to the Lord Chief Justice. I'll try to change it a little bit. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It has clearly been well looked after, though. That old thing? Pah, not much better than rags, really. Oh? Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? Oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner. Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not strange. What is that old thing? Sorry? I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bally thing out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose? There appears to be an inscription on the metal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, "For distinguished participation." Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. That portrait of Mr. Garrideb is glaring at me. I swear. Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrideb as well? Yeah, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well. Ah, yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket. Seemed to come back? What do you mean? The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard who went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need. The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements. Susato-san doesn't pull our punches, or her throws for that matter. Okay. Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yeah, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I am going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Maybe let's not, Miss Susato. I think the maid is gonna have to head us off with a cup of tea. Alright, he made a point. What's that? Is that a candle? Is that a candle on the floor? What the fuck? Oh, yeah, I can look around. Is that a candle, though? Is that a candle? Okay. Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand. Lined up? It looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with tea.
That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally, and it would never do to waste the leftovers. So wherever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. Oh, this old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say? Yeah, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. That old thing, yes. Just a cheap piece of ironmongery. Gimcrack, really. Oh. Used it when I was studying, don't you know, for my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really, but, well, still has its uses sometimes. Oh. Of course. Does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it? There are memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories. What does he do with this candlestick? And why is it so black? Oh, no. He puts it where the sun doesn't shine. No. Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it? Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful? Although the shelves seem to be broken, and the crockery is... Oh dear, it is in pieces. It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice. Ah, I wonder... Perhaps the cannon was fired at it. Yeah, probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here. Yeah, that's a fair assumption, I'd say. This window looks over Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked. Oh yeah, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene. The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. Does this thing open at all, I wonder?
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
Seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. But they said there were two witnesses who saw it all. Two witnesses that Natsume didn't see. So... Alright, I think we're done here. Can I talk to the maid? Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Renosuke Naruhodo. He is a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of May one, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from my service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and downstairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yeah, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercises, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, do you think so? Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you are very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to have found the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Ah! Dash it all, woman, be careful!
Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only too pleased, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detectives poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea on that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Rant's magazine here, so... Eh? No,
Anyway, the champ's investigating a foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room. It's a bally nuisance. It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching in its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling. Alright. That was just the that was just the beginning. Okay. Sure. About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrideb. Please, do tell us. Ah yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodgers most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you know. Ah! Fuck! Dash it all down! Do be careful!
Oh my goodness! I'm so terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him.
Oh, why is that?
He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. A man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's got to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all?
Yes, oh yeah, indeed there was.
She's dying to tell us. Go on then, Joan. Did you notice anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take a man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books he is, more than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes a time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots onto that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light a gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Could you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh!
I understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct? That's right, yes. They're both below us, on the first floor on street level. Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example? Even the time they go to bed?
Ah, fuck!
Good grief, Joan! Be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir! I'm terribly sorry, sir!
Something doesn't add up here. Okay. Seems that the incident took place around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window around that time? The window. Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household. 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary then? Such as... anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well... Yes? Was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that time, sort of... Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing!
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was a trifling matter, really. Nothing. Ah! Joan, dash it all! What is the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
Yes. Quiet. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quite uneventful meal, Joan?
That's right, Mr. Garrideb.
What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. What the hell's going on here? Who's really in charge of this place? Could you tell us what... Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor. And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak? Yes. Told me not his name asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean? Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he will be able to tell us more. Alright, you freaks. See you later. Let's go to Mr. Natsume's room.